Chairman Jim Walsh here at the WSOP offices in Bellevue for my weekly update on what's going on in the state. Uh, Today, Tuesday, uh, the current governor, Jay Inslee, gave his farewell State of the State address at the Capitol in Olympia. And in my capacity as a state legislator, was there uh, on the floor live as he gave his farewell address. Uh, it wasn't great, no surprise there. But I think that some of the faults in the speech actually are kind of unifying and uniting for most people in this state. Uh, the high point of the whole proceeding was a very nice rendition of the national anthem that a couple sang, and a couple of our tribal neighbors here in Washington gave a great welcoming song to open things up. Unfortunately, it went downhill from there. Uh, the governor basically gave about half an hour's worth of excuses about why the many problems in this state aren't his fault, and that despite the many things he screwed up in his time as governor, he thinks Washington's a great place to live. Well, Washington is a great place to live, in spite of the bad policies put forward by Jay Inslee, certainly not because of them. The good news is that Republican legislators in Olympia and common sense conservatives all around the state have proposals, have ideas, have bills for how to solve many of the problems we face here in Washington and to truly encourage all the great things about living here in this beautiful state. For starters, the governor really stumbled through his discussion of crime. Of course, he doesn't use the word crime. He uses the word public safety or other euphemisms. But an immediate problem for all of us here in Washington are rising crime rates. And luckily, the common sense conservatives in Olympia have proposals for doing something about that. Whether it's Representative Travis Couture's bill on effectively handling sexually violent predators in the state, instead of basically turning them loose in the general population. There are other proposals too. Generally in our state, we need to restore the ability of police to pursue criminals and criminal suspects. We also need to change the general attitude of this state in its public policy and its political culture that's very anti-police, anti-cop. We need to change that direction and really support law enforcement in Washington. The governor also kind of staggered through his discussion of basic education and schools here in Washington. Of course, he wants to throw more money at the bad performance of our public school system. The schools, of course, are challenged. The proficiency testing on high school kids for reading and writing and math, all very poor. Most of the high school kids in the state are not reading or writing at grade level, and certainly most of them are not able to do math at grade level. This is a massive failure that rests with the current governor. But we have good ideas for how to fix this. We have proposals to fully fund special education in our K-12 system and to give families more choice about how they educate their kids. My colleague, State Representative Carolyn Eslick, has a great bill for improving school choice here. And of course, the governor completely staggered through what he calls the climate emergency, what really is his blank check to raise taxes on Washington people and families and working people here. He says he will not give up his fight. But his fight with regard to his environmental schemes is a fight against the people of Washington. Of course, front and center there is our need to repeal his disastrous cap and trade tax scheme. But there are other tax reforms too that we need to put in place here in Washington. And the governor has no concept of any of these needed reforms. He has a sort of Marie Antoinette's French nobility detachment from the lives of regular people in Washington. All in all, the common sense conservatives here in Washington are looking out for the real people of Washington. And I think as the current governor disappears in a puff of sanctimony, we will see that it is the conservatives and the Republicans in Washington who are going to get this state back on a good track, who are going to fix what's broken, and who are going to bring all people of goodwill together to look out for our neighbors, improve the safety of our neighborhoods, improve the business climate here in Washington, and restore all the great things that make this one of the best places in the world to live. I'm optimistic that as the current governor rides off into the sunset of his virtue signaling, we will get back to the real business in Olympia and in DC of making this place a better place to live, work, and raise a family. That's it for this week. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Be well.